Hello, I have a guest with me, TJ Musumi. And TJ, let her rip.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I've been a fan of your show for the longest time. I remember the first episode I saw you was actually over, you were doing a talk over Amway, and I remember you were talking about the book Merchants of Deception by Eric Scheibler, and then you were also talking about how like a lot of like the authors of like a lot of self-help books are actually fraud for the most part, like Napoleon Hill, Dale Carnegie, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that at the time because that was when I was doing my research and the beginning of my research and learning about Amway and MLMs in general. So I was like, wow, even like just like the little part where like they require you to make self-help books is also a lie. So so yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So you were in Amway? I'm so excited to hear from you. Please tell us,
Yeah,
how long were you in Amway? And I know there's this whole tool scam component. Many people have heard of it, but they still can't really wrap their brains around it. And I am one of those people. It seems, every time I hear people talk about it, it's like, okay, what can you like explain it again? So you're part of something called Limited, or just please dive into your story and just share whatever you want to share.
yeah. I was a part of Amway for 6 years from 2016 to 2022, and yeah, Amway is just it's a supply-based company, is what my upline like to call it. But basically, it's based out of Ada, Michigan, and they basically make like products like consumables, like protein powder, protein shakes, protein bars, lotion, and all that stuff. And like it's basically a supply base where like people get recruited in to become distributors for Amway or IBOs, that they call it, independent business owners, where you're basically a sole proprietor for Amway and you sell products for Amway, and you have customers, and then also you recruit people. But my upline likes to say you um, not recruit, but you sponsor people. That's like the term that they call it. Sponsor, and you vet them to get them sponsored or whatever. But basically, you build a team of people underneath you. And like how it's structured is like there's like width and depth. So like width is people that you bring in personally, that you meet. So like I meet six people personally. That's my width. I have six people if they all get launched underneath me. And then depth is people below that, people that sponsor people themselves. So like if each of those six people met people that they knew or met people that they met for the first time at a grocery store, at a restaurant somewhere, that's the depth. So it's people that I didn't meet myself, but others met and put in their team as well, but they're all under me. So that's depth and width. That's the Amway supply-based business, and then there's also a training system. Not every IBO is a part of a training system. There are some places that just only build Amway, and those are more like the more, I would say, at least they're trying to be. They're the more genuine um, groups, organizations, but that's like a very minority people. For the most part, people that join Amway, they're usually underneath a trading system. It's basically an approved provider by the Amway Corporation, where Amway approves them to be a training business support materials that trains, motivates, and inspires Amway independent business owners to grow their business, their Amway business, and to learn how to, get customers, get IBOs, but overall learn how to be successful in Amway. So that's the training system. And there's like over 60 of them. If you do the research, there's like over 60 AMOs. That's what they're called. Amway motivation organizations, just, business support materials that are companies that, provide, motivational material and support to help build your business. There's over 60 of them. And I was a part of one of them called LTD. That stands for Leadership Team Development, and that's owned by Double Diamonds, Larry and Pam Winters, and Amway. And I was a part of that for 6 years, from 2016 to 2022. I was going to college at University of Northern Iowa in 2016. I was a freshman, and I actually met my soon-to-be sponsor. I could say his name. Thanks, Daniel Goebel, and he sponsored me or recruited me underneath him. And I basically back then how they did it, they used to like they call it show the plan. Back then it was like an old process of sponsoring people or recruiting people. So the old way of doing things is where you would like have your own laptop or an iPad, and you would show the whole Amway compensation plan to someone that you met. And so for me, for example, he met me at a dining center, and he got my phone number, and I got his phone number, and then we set up a time to meet with each other for a different date, and we did, and he showed me the Amway comp plan on his iPad, and that's how I was introduced to Amway, and that's how I got launched eventually. He didn't mention about LTD till later on when I went to my first conference, because LTD has like a series of conferences. It's like 4 times a year for their Amway BOs, 4 conferences a year, as well as weekly meetings every single week. They call it info sessions. Now today it's called group evaluation sessions, and then they also have monthly team meetings. So I didn't really learn about LTD and what it was until my first conference, and so that's how I got introduced to it, and I saw it as a way for me to not only be able to retire at a younger age, because I was going to school for exercise science, and I had goals of being either a strength coach or or just something in the fitness field, but mostly a strength coach for an athletic team, either collegiate or professional level. Um, but I also saw it as a way to where being seen this plan, if I could retire early, I wouldn't have to really worry about finding a job if I can just build passive income. And also, my mom was going back to school because she had a BA in business administration, and she was going back to school for nursing to be a CNA at a community college. So I saw it as a way to where if my mom was wanting to retire at a certain age, I'd be able to provide that for her if she wasn't in a position to do that for herself. So I saw that as a good opportunity, and so I eventually got in, and it wasn't really at first it was a good experience, I guess, at first, because like I was around a group of community of people. There was they call it legs, the people that you register directly or recruit directly. They call it your leg. So Dan Goble had 6 legs at the time. I was one of those 6 legs, and it was a nice team atmosphere. It was like a band of brothers, and then there was one female. It was like a band of people together, and at first it was nice community, and I was love bombed a lot, because like he would always say, even from the very beginning, hey, we're brothers, and like, I'm gonna be Uncle TJ, and then like, one day we're gonna have our own separate families, and we're gonna see it, both of our separate kids grow up, and like we're gonna be there for each other, we're friends for life, brothers for life. From the very beginning, I didn't even know him. I remember him saying this to me like on the way to my first conference in the car and stuff, and then um, and that's what kept me in too the longest time. I stayed for 6 years because I really believed in what he was telling me that entire time. Like, hey, we're friends, we're family, and it made me ignore a lot of red signs that I saw, just signs where there's a lot of things that my upline told me to do and instructed me to do or advised me to do or counseled me to do, and it went against my gut. And this was before I knew, to trust your gut, because I learned just you have to really trust your gut. Because like not like emotions, but like more like your inner gut feeling, like your intuition, where like if something's really, really wrong, you really have to trust that. And I didn't trust it back then. And there were a lot of red signs. One of them was I was at a financial loss. I was actually losing money, and I was actually losing more money than what I was actually earning. So with Amway IBOs, you get paid on the 15th of every month, and like my paycheck from Amway was always significantly less than what I was actually spending. Um, as time would go on, because I would eventually have my own full-time job, as I dropped out of school, because like I was convinced that like, hey, this is the best opportunity in the world, number one opportunity in the world to create time, money, and like they would always say too, we're the only opportunity in the world, the only one. And so I and then my upline to Dan Goble, there was one night it wasn't really a thought in my mind to drop out, but he was talking to me randomly one night, and he was saying, why are you in school? And then that's when those thoughts started to come, and then combined with the meetings I was going to, eventually I decided to leave school, and I would get a full-time job where I could work more hours during the day, 40 hours at least. And so at that point, I was spending like $1,000 a month towards my Amway business, and then even more towards the tool system. So like they had this thing called Ditto, where you so basically in order for you to get paid off of your downline, you have to have first you have to have today it's called verified customer sales. So you have to have 60% verified customer sales, but back then it was just 50 PV customer sales where you have customers that are now part of Amway buying products from your website. And then also, you need to also have like, at least 100 PV. Well, the customer rule is just to get paid off of your downline, and then also like um, there's a bonus brackets. Like the more personal circle that you have, the more you're gonna make more money, as they would say. So like, they would always say, hey, you need to have a 300 PV point personal circle. That's one level, and like that's a very, very stable business to have. 300 points, which is, there's PV is called points per volume. So every $3 is a point, and so they'd always say, yeah, you as a business owner, as an Amway BO, you want to have 300 PV points per volume running through your whole Amway website, for or at least for your own personal circle as far as what you buy from your own store, because like you're always told that your website is your own store. So there was advice everyone to at least strive to be 300 PV, if not minimum 100 PV, because that's the first level in the Amway bonus bracket. So like you won't make much money or barely anything if you're not 100 PV at least. So I was spending like $1,000 just to get to 300 PV because like um, to have a 300 PV point personal circle where you're buying your own products from your own store, it's like $1,000 worth of products, and I was doing that every single month on top of going to meetings, which was $5 a week for every single meeting that we had every week, which was the info session, now it's the group relation session, $10 a month for team meetings, and then every conference, which is 4 times a year, is $135, for each and every person. And then there's like this annual fall leadership, which is like one-time event in the fall, and that's like $55. And so it started out really, really quickly where I was at a financial loss and I was losing more money and spending more money than I was actually earning back. And there was actually one time, my final year when I was filing taxes with my accountant, he was saying, "Hey, don't even file because you had such a huge financial loss. Like, there's no even point in even filing for this. So just we won't even file this." And so I didn't even file my last year when I was in, but I just ignored those red signs, those flag warnings, and just trusted my upline. And then down the road, there was one person I sponsored. Now they're married, but they shared with me their faith. Their faith is Nazarite, Nazarenes, and so they shared with me their faith, and I learned from that. And I eventually converted to that faith, and I learned a lot, and it changed my whole perspective and my outlook on life, and how I saw this opportunity. I just spiritually, it didn't seem right with me anymore. Like the first time I went to a conference, so every Sunday, so it's like a 3-day event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like, Friday night all the way through like maybe like 1 a.m. Saturday it's like all day, and then Sunday it's like an optional non-dimensional service, and then you have like trainings up till 3 in the afternoon on a Sunday. And so I always thought that Sundays were like a beautiful thing where like they would have like some high level Amway leader that's like a diamond or above sharing their testimony and sharing how they found Christ. And then they would invite everyone to come to the stage and do like an altar call, so to speak, and give the life to Christ. And at first I thought that was a beautiful thing. And then I started to realize with, you know, me being a Nazarene, this wasn't really genuine and authentic. They were using religion to sell their business practice. It just didn't feel genuine anymore. And so and then this was like, also accumulation of years of being at financial loss and seeing my upline, Dan Goebel, he was at, I think like 1500 PV when when I first got launched, and then he grew all the way to platinum, and he went Q12 platinum. And so like he went silver in 2019, which is going 7,500 PV points per volume for 1 month, and then Q12 platinum is where you're doing that for 12 months in a row. And so from 2019 up to September to 2020 September, he was a brand new Q12 platinum. And so I saw all of that, and I saw him like make more and more money, and I was like, I was still losing money all that entire time. It just didn't make sense to me. So I had all that going through my mind, and so I just one day I told him, I just need a break from all this. This is also a little bit past COVID 2022, so I was like, I need a break just to think, is this the right path for me? And then, he would later text me and say, um, I'm not even going to argue with you, TJ, but you and I both know that God is changing life is God that God is changing lives through this business. And it was just he brought he brought out God, religion just right off the bat, and then he would always do these kind of things to me where it's just very manipulative. So I had it, and so I was like, what, I'm not gonna argue with you either, but you know, don't you tell me what I know, because he was like telling me before, like, you and I both know that God is changing like this business. And so I was like, don't tell me what I know. You don't know what I know. You're not my mind. You don't have my thoughts. You're not knowing what I'm thinking. So don't tell me what you know. Don't try and think for me. And then um, he was like, mentioned me back, do you believe that God is not changing lives through this business? And then I was said, what, God won't be able to speak to me because it's covered from darkness, that whole environment. I said that because I was just so angry, just because it's just manipulative and using religion, and just I don't know. And then after that, I spent some time thinking about it, and just afterwards, I messaged him saying that this just isn't the right path for me to take anymore. And then I didn't get a response back, but I wished him and his wife Tal Global well, and I didn't get any response back whatsoever. I had to go on a separate platform called GroupMe, another app where we would use to communicate with people. And like, I just asked him, "Did you get my text?" And he said, "Yeah, yes, I got your text." That was it. No, like, "Hey, I wish you well," or whatever. Even after before, he would love bomb me before. Now it's just, I got your text. That's it. And so that was all I got. And just looking back at it now, like, that whole relationship was just him benefiting off of me mostly, because he would always tell me that, it's because of my group that, was a huge catalyst for him to go platinum, because I was at ultimately I went 2500 PV, and that was enough for him to go platinum, because he had another leg which was 4000 PV, and like the other legs were like very small, like, like 300 PV or 200 PV. And it was just, I saw all that, and like everything else to his whole advice. Like there was one time where like he advised me just to, get on food stamps so I could afford my ditto, when I was going through a financial hard time, just to do that. And fortunately, I got rejected from food stamps, so I didn't have to, do that. But it was just, and I even, and he would always like say too, like, it's your ego getting away from you not doing food stamps. And it's like, you kidding me? It's like, that's not ego. It doesn't make sense. Like I understand like food stamps is necessary depending on the situation, but like it's not a good reason just to afford Amway products just to get on food stamps. It didn't make sense to me, and there was just stuff like that where it's just it was all for his own benefit from the have more PV in his downline and whatever. So that's why I eventually left, and then I started doing my own research, and then I found platforms like you. I found platforms like Robert Fitzpatrick. Um, Actually, my first thing that I saw was his interview with CoffeeZilla, and he told about Amway, how it started, and this is when he was promoting Ponzinomics, his book, which is a really good book. Talks about the whole history of Amway and how it started. So I found out about that and how Amway really is a scam. And it's funny because like, when we would go to these meetings, when I would go to these meetings, they would always say, the internet has misinformation, everyone has an agenda, and everyone that speaks badly about Amway has a negative agenda. And like, it's probably someone, living with their mom or their dad, blogging on the internet, or it's someone trying to sell their own, MLM, or get you into their MLM, which is a different MLM. So you're programmed and conditioned not to like do your own research. So I never did my own research until I left months later, because it didn't seem right with me. Just because like, what, Daniel was making all this money, I was losing money. I'm gonna do some research, And then I found out, yeah, lo and behold, it's a scam. just because Amway, it's a legal pyramid scheme, like because back in 1979 or from 1975 to 1979, they were being investigated by the FTC, and like the only reason why they were acquitted was because of one, there's this loophole where like every IBO has to have customer volume, where you have to have at least 50 PV points per volume going to their web. Well, back then, back to the business, no website, but going to the business customers, and then also they're very, very heavily connected to politics and politicians and government. So they have a huge hand in government. They're involved with election fraud. They're involved with paying off politicians. So they have a huge hand in the government. And basically, to sum it up, a corruption of government, why Amway was still in business and why they got acquitted in 1979. And um, ever since then, because like the FTC was investigating other MLMs too that were Amway's competition, and they had the same business model, but Amway, got away with it. And like there's reports of Rich DeVos, and Jay Van Andel, the owners of Amway, meeting with the president, Gerald Ford, who's a politician from Michigan, and he has connections to Michigan, and that's where Amway is located at, and that's where Jay Van Andel and Rich DeVos, have a lot of power in Michigan because Amway is located in Ada, Michigan, and Gerald Ford was the vice president of Richard Nixon, and then Nixon resigned in 1979, just when Amway was investigation for being a pyramid scheme, and Nixon resigned because of the Watergate scandal, and so when he was resigned disgracefully, Gerald Ford took over, and then one of the Rothschilds took over the vice president role as Gerald Ford took over the role of president for U.S. president, and then you know through that connection and through corruption, Gerald Ford, basically allowed the FTC to, or basically made sure that the FTC got Amway acquitted for not being a pyramid scheme. And then every MLM since has been using Amway as a crutch to stay in business and to use, Amway as an example of, how their company is legitimate, for legitimacy. And Amway has been able to rebrand itself. They're the reason why, this term called MLM, multi-marketing. It's basically an Orwellian term that Rich DeVos and Jay Van made up just to um, get people out of I guess to manipulate people's minds of thinking that this is not a scam, or thinking that it's a scam, to thinking that no, this is a business, a legitimate opportunity. It's a very, very credible business industry. And so they made up multi-marketing, and they rebrand themselves for being free enterprise, and they supported politicians such as Reagan and Bush. And so they played a huge role in the government. And at one point in time, there was one time where they had the Amway caucus. It doesn't exist anymore, but that's just an example how like over time they were able to get a lot of power and influence. And that's how they have a lot of celebrity endorsements. Like we've had like Sandra Bullock, Jennifer Lopez sponsor products, Shaq, just to name a few. It's just because of corruption and corruption of government, unfortunately. And that's why I'm still in business today. And so that's how I found out about that. And then I found Sean Munger, who was a historian. He did a piece on the tool system, and that's even a bigger scam. I didn't even realize it. That's also a pyramid scheme too. And then once I found out about that, I eventually I found Danielle Rodriguez's podcast. It's called X and T Podcast, and I was actually a guest on her show, and that kind of gave me the courage to speak out more because like after the episode, I really liked what I liked the experience of speaking out and just being able to kind of let out my frustrations and just how I felt being lied to, for 6 years. So after that, I started my own podcast called Unplug because she was actually promoting. If you go on Spotify for podcasters, you can make your own podcast for free. And so I went on there, made my own podcast. It's called Unplug, and there I was able to show my whole story in depth from what I was not able to share with her on her show. And I did more research to expose Amway and LTD, and that was the whole point of it, was just to basically give truth to their lies that they're trying to perpetuate and portray to prospects downline on. And then there was one day I was going to Panera Bread to get something, and then I saw my old sponsor Dan Goebel and one of my old downlines that were below me, and I could tell they were doing a meeting because there was a book called The Go Giver by I think the author was Bob Berg, and so we have a vetting process now. So it was different when I was in or when I first got introduced to the business. So this new process started around like the third month when I was in business. So it went from like showing the plan when you met someone. So back then you would meet someone and then you just show the plan at the next meeting and reveal it's Amway. Today it's different. Now it's been like the way for like the last 6 years now, and it's still the same today. Today you meet someone and then you go through an entire interview process for at least 7 to 9 meetings of an interview process. And so I can tell they're in a meeting because like that's one of the books that we give in our meetings where like there's so much material that we give to our prospects during the vetting process. We give like um, it's like a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water, and Robert Kiyosaki's Business 21st Century. So we give a lot of books to educate our prospects as we're taking them through the interview process and learning how, or I guess learning about what we do, so called, and then eventually you go to board plans where they show the plan, which is called the info session or the group relation session. So I could tell it's one of the meetings that we used to do, the vetting process, and I saw a prospect there. He looked young, like in his 20s, so it kind of reminded me of myself. And Daniel was talking to him, it was at a booth, so Daniel was facing the prospect, and then like one of my old downlines was like in the middle of the booth, and so I just couldn't just walk away after that. So I literally like went to that booth and I shared with the prospect what I've been learning about the tool system, and mainly I just talked about the tools. That's what I mainly talked about, just the tool system and like how they're ripping people off, and then Daniel was threatening me, hey, you're gonna get sued, and all this stuff. And like I could tell that was fear monger, and that usually works with people, but it doesn't work with me. So he's like telling me, hey, you're gonna get sued. And like he was telling me, hey, what about Robert Kiyosaki at Grant Cardone, or any entrepreneur that offers training for, their businesses to learn how to, build assets in their or in certain industries, and they offer training for that. Like, is that illegal? I mean, what about that? And like, hey, 95% of businesses, fail, and only 5% succeed, and all these things. I was like, you know what, I had it. So you know what, fine. If you're gonna sue me, then I'm gonna counter sue you for running a deceptive trade practice and an illegal pyramid scheme. So I was like, you know what, bet, let's do it. I want to see, are you gonna actually sue me? So whether or not he sues me or doesn't sue me, I'm gonna sue him now. That's the whole point of it now, because I'm tired of this whole fear monger where they always threaten to sue people because like um, before that, I was talking to them down and reaching out to them, showing them research and information, just about the tool system and what I've been learning about Amway. That was it, just to warn them and say, hey, you might want to take a look at this and maybe ask your upline just to clarify on a few things. That was it. I wasn't asking them to believe me. I didn't tell them to believe me. I just say you might want to look at this and ask your upline. That was it. I wasn't telling them to, do anything else. Just hey, you might want to look at this. So I wasn't, forcing them to do anything, and I wasn't harassing them or stalking them. But he was telling me, yeah, you were harassing, your downline, and like you're gonna get sued for harassment. So I can tell this is just a tactic where like if you try to reach out to your old downline from what you learned about the scam that you were part of for years, they're gonna call that harassment. So I'm tired of the whole fearmonger thing they do to people, including myself. So I'm gonna sue you for running an illegal pyramid scheme and a deceptive trade practice because I have evidence of both. And I'm not the one doing that, but you are, and you're threatening to sue me. So, all right, bet, let's do it. So I'm going to sue him now. And so basically, my lawsuit is going to be over him running a deceptive trade practice. Because when you get launched with Amway, they're going to promote the Amway compensation plan for um, being a great opportunity to build financial independence and wealth, and you can build an asset for your family and create a huge legacy for your family. Ongoing income, passive income. However, they won't tell you that the Amway high level pins, and pins is just markers that you are in business. So the Amway high level pins are actually making more money from the LT tool system than the actual Amway comp plan. And it's the same thing with every tool system that's out there, which is over 60 of them. So URA, Brit Worldwide, Worldwide Dream Builders, just name a few. They're making most of their income from the tool system. More specifically, about 80% of them is coming from the tool system, their income, and 20% is coming from the Amway supply-based system. And so, and they're not showing, how the comp plan works for the tool system. They're just talking about the Amway comp plan, and promoting, a lifestyle revolving around the Amway comp plan, but not actually showing you know, the tourist comp plan, how that's supposed to work and how you can earn with the tour system. So that's illegal. So it's over being a trade practice, and then also it's over them doing the same thing with being a deceptive trade practice for the Amway comp plan. So if people didn't know this, if you're a part of any AML, they're not actually showing the real Amway comp plan. They're just making up an Amway comp plan and making up income figures as far as what you can earn at certain PIN levels. So for example, for LTD, we have a weekly meeting. It's called the group relation session, and it's held every week, and it's all over across the country. There's multiple of them across the country in multiple cities all over the country, and these board plans, they always talk about how platinums, which is 700 PV points per volume through going through your website. Platinums can earn anywhere from 50K to 75K annually, and they talk about how Ruby can earn anywhere from 120K to anywhere from 80K to 120K rubies, which is 15,000 PV through your website. And then emeralds can earn anywhere from, yeah, emeralds can earn 250K annually, and diamonds can earn 500K annually. That's what we're taught. So we're told, and like we're told that those are minimums, because like they would always say too that like yeah, these are minimums, and like we're not allowed to like go any say any higher. But let me tell you that we've actually made more than this. But if you actually do your digging and research, Amway doesn't claim that at all. So they only make income claims up to Q12 Platinum, which they call it Founders Platinum. So there's no income claims towards Ruby, Emerald, Diamond, or above. They're only talking about bonuses and incentives and trips that you can earn at those levels above the Founders Platinum level. They're not talking about what you can earn for total revenue annually, at those levels above the Founders Platinum level. So that'd be a false income claim and a deceptive trade, because you're deceiving people into thinking that they could earn this much money when Amway's not endorsing that or claiming that. And it's even going against Amway rules too, because Amway doesn't Amway states too in the rules of conduct, you can't, talk about income above, Founders Platinum. Just like as far as like annual revenue, you can only talk about, rewards, incentives, but not like income as far as, above Founders Platinum for, annual revenue. They even state that too, but it's also, illegal. It's a deceptive trade practice. That's the second thing, and it's also going to be over false income claims. So like, they'll claim platinum's going to earn, 50K to 75K annually. But if you do your research, platinums earn within the last 5 years. I did my research. Within the last 5 years, from 2019 to 2024, platinums have been earning less than $25,000 annually before expenses on average. And this is another level called Founders Platinum. So Platinum is where you have 7,500 PV points per volume going through your website for 6 months, and Founders Platinum is where you have that, 7,500 PV points per volume going through your website for 12 months. So um, Founders Platinum has been less than $46,000 on average the last 5 years before expenses in the U.S. And so like it's nowhere near 50K or 75K. And I could see they might even lie too and say, no, we meant Q12 Platinum, not Founders Platinum, when we say, 50K to 75K annually. But even then, that's still an exaggerated income claim, because Amway is talking about how like Founders Platinums earn less than $46,000, before expenses in the U.S. And there's another document that I found where like Amway did claim what you could earn. So like Amway has an income disclosure where they talk about the previous year, what did Founders Platinum and what did Platinums and levels below that earn the previous year. So if you go on Amway.com, they're talking about now how what did Platinums earn in the U.S. before expenses last year in 2023. Same thing with Founders Platinum and any level below Founders Platinum. And then there's also another document called the Prospecting Guidelines where they talk about what you can earn potentially. And like they were saying how like if you have 12 legs and you have the Q12 bonus check, you'll earn $53,000, 53,400 annually. And that's less than what they were claiming as far as earning up to 75K at the board plans. So this is an example where they're making false income claims, and it's a big deal because like I learned this recently. It's illegal to make false income claims in criminal and civil law, and so they're claiming claims that Amway's not endorsing. If they were in that, and if Amway as a corporation was literally standing in the same room where I was in, watching the board plan at my meetings, watching my upline make these income claims, Amway wouldn't be able to protect them. They wouldn't be able to defend them. They wouldn't be able to have their back because they didn't say those claims that they're claiming at the board plan, and they didn't endorse them. And it's happening all over the country. I talked to someone that was in another training system called Worldwide Dream Builders, and they were claiming that emeralds can earn 500K and rubies can earn 250K. And so like, and then like they were talking about platinums can earn anywhere from 80K to 120K platinums. And I was taught platinums earn 50K to 75K annually, and rubies earn 80K to 120K annually, and emeralds earn 250K annually, and diamonds earn 500K annually. So that's one example how like they're showing different income figures across the country because this person was in Oregon when I saw the plan. So it's happening over the country in the U.S. It's a huge prevalent issue where like they're showing false income claims and they're not actually showing the real Amway comp plan. So that's the second and third thing. And then the fourth thing is going to be over being an illegal pyramid scheme. So LTD is a pyramid scheme, and I've gone over that in my show, and I've exposed that. The reason why it's a pyramid scheme is because the only way to have access to the LTD products, any product, books, audios, app subscriptions, etc. You have to be recruited and registered underneath someone, and you do that if you go to ltteam.com. There's the registration page, and there you have to enter your Amway sponsors LT number. So if you're an LTD, you have your own number system. You have your own number for LTD for your LTD account, and it's separate from your IBO Amway account. So Amway, you're registered an Amway IBO number, and then with LTD, you're given an LT number, but it's separate and different from your IBO number. So they're two separate numbers. And on that website for the LTD registration, you have to enter your sponsor's LT number. And mine, for example, was 6550692. So every single one, every single person has to, every single person that wants to get into LTD, have to find someone that's already in LTD and type in their LT number and sign up underneath them and register underneath them. And everyone has the same ability to register and sign people up underneath them. And that means everyone's a distributor because they have the ability to recruit and register people underneath them, and that's how everyone has access to the products for the tool system, and no one else, no party, no outside user, no individual that's not affiliated with the company LTD has the ability to earn or has the ability to purchase anything from the tool system. And so it's all inside users buying products from the tool system, and there's no outside users. It's not bad to make money off of apps and training systems and memberships and apps and app subscriptions. It's not bad. It's not bad to do that. People do that with TikTok and other stuff like that too. It's just bad where like if only members that are inside users for LTD are the ones that have access to the apps and app subscriptions and other products, to purchase. If they're the ones that have access to it and there's no outside users, no outside party that's not affiliated with LTD whatsoever to buy stuff from LTD, that's illegal and it's a problem. And there's no outside users, purchasing anything from LTD, and the only way to sign up and become a member of LTD is to actually need someone. So you're a distributor, and then all that revenue is traced through your LT number. That's how they track sales. So like for example, if you ever go to an LTD conference, they have like this rented out space where they have their LTD merchandise and t-shirts and hats, book bags, and self-help books and audio bundles to buy. And I would always tell the teller if I bought anything from there, my LT number, and that was it. I didn't have to take my debit card out or my credit card out. I could just tell them my LT number, and that was it because my LT number has my LTD account, which has my debit card already on file or my credit card on file. So that's how they track sales, and all that revenue gets traced up to your upline, higher pins in LTD. And so that's why everyone has an LT number. And specifically, the rule is with this pyramid scheme, only platinums and above actually earn revenue from their downline. That's not platinum. That's not they earn revenue from the tool system, from the downline. So um, platinums and above earn revenue from the tool system from the downline. while everyone else that's below platinum doesn't receive any tool money from their downline. So if you're like below platinum, let's say 4,000 PV, and you have a downline, you're not getting any tool money from your downline. That's a part of LTD. Subscribing to LTD, it's only your upline that's platinum above that's earning revenue from their downline. That's the rules. And so no one can earn more than Larry and Pam Winnis, which are the owners of LTD, and platinums and above earn revenue from the tool system, and everyone else earns zero compensation. So that financial loss heavily because they're earning zero compensation from the tool system. And so it's a pyramid, and there's no outside users, and it's illegal. And the only reason why they're getting away with it is because the FTC has not investigated LTD or any other training system ever. It's only been Amway and other companies, but not the tool system, not LTD, and not any tool system whatsoever. So that's why they're able to get away with it. And the owners of the tool, the owner of every tool system is able to get away with running a pyramid scheme and paying all their downline distributors a part of the tool system, whatever they want to, with no regulation whatsoever, because they're not being watched, they're not being regulated legally, they're not being legally monitored, so they're able to do whatever they want as they please and pay, their downline distributors how much they want to. And so the scenarios where, like, for example, um, two emeralds that are the same pin level, same group size, same structure, same amount of people in their downline, that all subscribe to LTD. There are emeralds that are earning different percentages that are at the same size group and structure and everything. Just because Larry Winners, same with any other tool system, they're any other owner of a tool system, they're picking and choosing who gets paid how much money, and it's just based off of just their own discretion. So if even if you're at the same pin level, same group size, same structure, and you're platinum and above, Larry Winners as far and as well as any other owner of a tool system, they're going to pay you different amounts of the tool system money from your downline, and it's based off of percentages. So like one emerald could get 6% of the tool system, and another emerald that's the same size, same group structure might get 21% from the downline from the tool system. So it's all based on percentages, and it's all you're getting screwed over heavily even from the tool system like that, just because it's based off of the owner's discretion on how much you get paid. However, even that percentage is more money that you make from the tool system compared to the Amway comp plan from what you earn there. So it's all racket, it's all ruse, but it's not right, and people are not being disclosed the tool system, and so that's why I'm filing this lawsuit. Just because like everyone's getting screwed over, like even platinums and above are getting screwed over too. Because if you're below diamond, but platinum and above, the diamonds are taking most of your tool money, that you're earning and producing, with your downline, subscribing to LTD. And it's the same with every tool system. The diamonds are just taking advantage of that, of not being watched and monitored and legally, monitored and watched and regulated. So the diamonds, a part of LTD, are taking most of their are taking most of the income made from platinums and above for part of the tool system. So it's all a racket because no one's actually shown how it actually works. Not even platinums and above are showing how it actually works. They're just getting paid, and everyone below platinum is not getting paid. And so no one's actually disclosed how the tool system actually works, and so no one knows how it works and how you can get paid, and it's just all racket. So that's why I'm taking a stand against it and filing my class action lawsuit.
I have some
That's a lot.
questions.
That's a lot. I
So
know.
thank you so much for explaining all of this, and you're giving voice to people who don't have the courage to come forward. They might have too much shame. So it's really important that you're doing this, and I want to help amplify your voice any which way I can. I would like to dig in more to this LTD. I called it limited because LTD is like a limited company. That's what when I see LTD. And
Yeah.
if you can explain, like, as if we're all like 5 years old, so many of us were in not Amway. Like, I mean, a lot of people are in Amway, but I was in Mon 8. Some people are in Arbonne, and they don't have this tool scam going on at the same time. We're
You're
used to
lucky.
just, you buy a product pack. Yeah. You buy a product pack, you pay a 19.95 site fee, and then you're on auto ship. So, but when you joined Amway, you're also joining something called LTD at the same time. Are these two, are you aware of this? Are you paying two entry fees? How does that work?
So it changed over time. So like when I first got launched, it was an old process. So like back then, um, they only spoke about Amway and talked about Amway, and LTD was kind of kept secret until like your first conference or so. Because even at the board plans, the weekly meetings, the group evaluations, they wouldn't talk about LTD. It would just be about Amway alone. It wasn't until like the conference where if someone went to the first conference, that's where they talk about LTD. Back then, and then this new process now, they won't talk about Amway or LTD until the third meeting of the process, which is called, in possession one or group evaluation one, the board plan, and it's been like that for the last 8 years now. So now, every board plan they talk about Amway and LTD, and when you get launched, you sign up with Amway and LTD at the same time, um, ideally. And even back then too, I'm going back. So even back then too, so I didn't find out until later it was LTD as well, or LTD's involved as well. However, when it was when they offered me to be launched underneath them and sign up underneath them, I signed up both with LTD and Amway. But I wasn't really sure what LTD was at the time because that was actually before my first conference when I signed up. If that makes sense. But it was like a weird way of doing things back then with the old process. But now today, they are more transparent in showing what LTD is and what Amway is, as you're going through the interview process today. And then once you get to the end of the process, then you do sign up with Amway and LTD. And they do want you to sign up with Amway and LTD at the same time. If not, what they'll do is they'll sign up with LTD first and have you go to meetings first and have you go to conferences first if they're coming out. Um, like there's like four quarterly conferences and there's like that one fall leadership. So like if one's coming close and you're in the interview process and you get launched, and you don't have the money to afford both, signing up with Amway and LTD at the same time. I've seen this. They'll just have you sign up with LTD first and have an LTD account because like I said before, the high level pins, they're making 80% of their income from the tool system and 20% from the Amway comp plan. So it's more beneficial just to have, you sign up with LTD first if you can't afford signing up with both Amway and LTD at the same time. And they need you to actually sign up with LTD too, because if, for example, if a conference is coming up, you can't buy a conference ticket by yourself. You have to be a member of LTD to buy and purchase a conference ticket. And so that's also example of being a pyramid scheme too, because all that revenue is going towards specifically it's going towards emeralds and above. So if you're an emerald and above, you're receiving tool money from your downline buying a conference ticket. So if you have, uh, let's just say you have 200 people going to a conference and they're on your team, you're going to receive a certain amount of money for every person that goes to that conference. Um, so, for example, you might get $10 for every person that goes to that conference. So, if you have 200 people there, it's going to add up to that way. That's emeralds and above, and so like diamonds get a higher amount as far as each person in the downline in their team. Buying a conference ticket. How much do you get per IBO per person in your downline going to a conference ticket? And so that revenue is going up to those people illegally just because like it's all internalized where like it's only their inside users, distributors in LTD buying tickets for those conferences, and there's no outside users buying tickets for those conferences, and so that's illegal too. And so like the only way to make that legal would be, every person a part of LTD would have to have like a guest going to the conferences and buying a ticket for the conferences, so that revenue could legally flow up to high level pins, emeralds and above, that receive money from every person that goes to these conferences, that are in their team. That or every person a part of LTD would have to just be students of LTD. By that I mean like everyone had to sign up with LTD directly and not underneath someone. And so that means everyone's a student of LTD, and that means everyone's an outside user because no one's signing up underneath, no one's signing up underneath each other. They're just signing up with LTD alone and not directly underneath someone. And so there's not teams anymore. LTD wouldn't encompass teams anymore. It would just be everyone individually buying stuff from LTD, such as a conference ticket. And so then only Larry winners and Pam winners would, earn revenue from the tickets being sold for every conference, and no one else would, no one else would below them would get any revenue from tickets as well as any other product that's being purchased from people a part of LTD. That'd be legal, but it'd be hard to keep up because then how are you going to convince people that are not learning pin winners, to promote the tool system and to promote LTD, hey, go to this conference, hey, subscribe to LTD monthly, all this, like, it'll be hard to convince people to do that because now diamonds and emeralds are not going to be compensated to money if they are just students as part of LTD and they can't sign up anyone underneath them with LTD and they can't sign up, you know, below someone on LTD. It'd just be signing with LTD directly. That or everyone has to get paid minimum wage to make that legal, where everyone, a part of LTD is an employee and they get paid minimum wage. But if not, it's still going to be pyramid scheme if you don't want to do any one of those things. And so there's different plans with LTD. So when you get signed with LTD, um, so back then, it was $60 to get registered with LTD, and it was $60 for your first 3 months when I got signed up, and it was that way for at least about 8 years. It was actually that way. So like 8 years, it was $60 to get signed up with LTD, and it was that way for your first 3 months where you're paying $60 per month, and then after that it would go up to the original subscription. And so there's different plans. So like the first one would start at $90 per month, and the highest plan was $250 per month, and that's called VIP.
Did
And
you say
that's
90?
where,
Sorry, did you say $90 or nine?
yeah, ninety
90?
dollars.
90 was the
Yeah,
low end. 90
that's the low end
It's
per
okay.
month. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, and then the highest was $250 per month, and that's called VIP. And that one, you're basically given an so there's so many apps with LTD. So there's like when you get signed up, there's like 4 apps. There's like a message app where you can communicate with your upline and your downline and send messages through texting, voice chat. You can make videos. It's like a social media kind of. And then there's the LTD Media app where you can download audios virtually through that app alone. And with that one, if you're a VIP paying, $250 per month, you basically have access to all those audios, um, and you don't have to buy them because like every audio is like over $9. So if you're a VIP, it's just automatically free because you're paying that subscription of $250 per month at the VIP level, and so you have access to every audio up in the LTD Media app. And then if you're at that low end, $9 per month, you only have access to they have credits with those audios in the LTD Media app. So a credit is where you can just get an audio and download it for free through the LTD Media app. So like if, at the low end, $9 per month, you're given 5 credits, and so you only get 5 credits to get 5 free audios, any audio from the tool system to download to the app, and it doesn't like add up. It basically goes away and restarts. So like if you didn't use your 5 in 1 month, it would just go back to 5 the next month. It doesn't like be like 1 month you didn't use any credits, and then those credits remain the next month following. So you have 10 credits. It's just it goes back to 5. So like you have to use up all your credits in 1 month, or it goes away and you only get 5 again every single month, unless you go VIP where you have unlimited credits. So there's an incentive there. And then see, there's a media app, message app, and then there was the DIYS app. The DIYS app is called Determine Your Success. That's where you're basically able to um, not because it's all digital now. Back in the day, they would like give prospects that are you know seeing the plan for the first time like tapes and CDs to loan them to listen to and stuff like that too. But now it's like a virtual way where like any audio from the tool system, you can just send it to someone on their phone through that app. There's a way to do that with the DOS app, so I can just virtually send an audio from the tool system to that app to someone's phone number, and they could like listen to it there. That's called the DOS app. And then also like if I'm talking to a guest or a prospect in a different state, like Alabama, and I live in Iowa, and I have a prospect in Alabama, and let's just say I want them to go to a meeting to see the board plan, the Amway comp plan. I would have to like go on the DIYS app and like try and communicate with someone that that's an LTD member in Alabama through that app, the DLIS app, and talk to them and see the local meetings that are in Alabama, wherever my prospect lives at, and see the closest meeting there to where they live at, to then communicate with the people that run that meeting in Alabama that's closest to my prospect, to then have them um, basically seat my prospect in a seat somewhere in the meeting, so they know who he is and like where to seat him. They typically like front row for guests or prospects, in a meeting. So and for the board plans, like I communicate with them to send a prospect down to see the plan at a meeting somewhere locally in Alabama, because I'm not there physically to do it myself. So that's what the DOS app was for. And so there's all these different plans, and like it costs $60 to join to become a member of LTD, and and then also you sign up to need someone, and then there's an annual revenue fee. I think it's like an annual renewal, like I think it's like $60, I think, or something like that annually to repay. Um, but now it's changed now. I probably shouldn't say this, but I don't really care anymore. So the FTC is investigating LTD. They were doing that for the last few months now, and I've shared with them my evidence as far as LTD being a pyramid scheme, and LTD being a deceptive trade practice. I mean, it's already exposed now, so there's no point in hiding this anymore. It's just a matter of time for them just to now be held accountable. The reason why I mentioned that is because the FTC is investigating LTD. LTD basically started this new thing where now it's called the apprenticeship program, where now it's complimentary, where LTD members now can sign up for free with LTD, and everything is free for the first 12 months. Um, I'm not sure if everything's free, but I know like signing up is free, and they have like a lot of free things for new members of LTD for the first 12 months. And then after that, you're prompted to either have that low end subscription at $9 per month, or the high end, $250 per month VIP. But before that, you're not paying any monthly subscriptions with LTD for the first 12 months. But everyone else is that's been there for over 12 months. And they started this actually this year in February 2024. So um, that's just because the FTC investigated them and they're onto them. So that's why it's complimentary. Um, but I mean, it's just a matter of time before they're gonna get caught, and it's still a pyramid scheme anyway, even if you don't pay in to become a member, because still, I mean, after 12 months, there are people that have been in past 12 months that are still inside users, a part of LTD, and there's still no outside users buying anything from LTD. For example, it's like one small example. If you go to ibogear.com, there's um, so many merch from LTD, like t-shirts, hats, book bags, you name it. And if you try and buy one on your cart, it's gonna take you to the LTD login page, which is the same login page that I use to log into LTD. And there you'll see, you have to enter in your username and your password, which your username is the LT number that you're given, because everyone has an LT number, and then a password that you made up yourself. And then there's below that LTD registration page, start now, and then there you can't sign up by yourself. You have to sign up underneath someone and enter in their LT number to sign up and become a member of LTD. And so that's proof right there. It's a small example. It's a very small example of how LTD is a pyramid scheme. So it's funny. They're really really dumb in like doing that, because like every tool system out there, like Worldwide Dream Builders, Brett Worldwide, URA, they all did their best to hide their stuff. Like like if you try and like go to their websites, like URA for example, or Brett Worldwide, like you'll just see the login information, username, password, but they don't have like their registration process to register. They just have the login information. That's it. But LTD, for some reason, they blatantly put their, registration process in their website, and they also have another website where they sell merch. I think we're the only tool system that sells merch illegally. And I think every tool system doesn't sell merch, but like LTD sells merch, and they're doing it illegally. And I just thought Larry Winters was more smarter than that, because like this is like a very very simple search, but it was easy to find how like even that one small example It's just I thought he was smarter than that, but whatever. But yeah, so that's what LTD is. You are prompted to sign up with both, because you're applying as a part of LTD that's recruiting you, and so and if you can't sign up with both at the same time, then they want you to sign up with LTD first, and then down the road we'll sign you up with Amway. And they would always say it in a way where like Amway is just a formality. What's more important is LTD, and um, you know um, going through your list as far as this A list, which is family, B list acquaintances, C list, which is cold contacting, cold meeting people, and so they want you to start sponsoring people or recruiting people right away, and sign up with LTD right away if you can't do both with them at the same time. So.
What's so ironic to me is that it's you're joining the multi-level marketing company, you're signing up for this business, this Amway, and then they say, no, instead of signing up with Amway, if pressed, sign up with LTD instead. These are the tools that are going to help you grow the business, but don't worry about signing up for the business. Just get in with the training. It's wild
Yeah,
to me that that's what they're advising. And these people that are at the top of these scams, they've gotten away with things for so many years that they're so sloppy. There are mistakes everywhere. There's been mistakes piling up for decades, and it just requires people having the courage to come forward, and you're one of those people. So
yeah,
thank you so much for explaining that part. I do have a couple of other questions if you don't
yeah.
mind.
Go ahead.
Since
Yeah,
I
go
have
ahead.
you here, because this is Amway,
Yeah,
like I was telling you in the DMs, Amway is the mothership. From Amway, all
definitely.
other multi-level marketing companies flow. So all of your terminology, it's familiar to us. PV, the names of the ranks are different, but the people treating you like crap, the religious manipulation, all those things are the same because all multi-level marketing companies are the same. They're all fraud. So
Yeah,
I thought it was so cool when you mentioned that you saw your friends or that your upline success, and that it reminded me of going to different conferences myself, and I would meet people. I could see them. It was like I could shake their hand. It was proof that this was real. These people actually were making money. And I thought, like, when you also mentioned, and it's not cool that like cool in the way that I can relate to that, because it kept me in, because I saw somebody actually have success. So to me, I'd bypass taking a look at like how this was a fraud. And when you were going to so many of these weekly meetings and there's so many conferences with this LTD, it's amazing that you woke up. It's amazing that you were able to kind of shake free from that, because that has a hold on you. There's so many things involved with this LTD that you've described. I had no idea about all these different apps. They make it. It's so elegant. So many
yeah,
things to be so busy. Like, you have to do the business this way. It must be like, if you have somebody in Alabama, well, they need to go into this DYS. And if you don't have DYS, well, that's why you didn't recruit them. And that could have been your next runner. Like, I see how this
yeah,
works. And for you to be like involved by, thinking that this is what you need to do, that investment of time, like the indoctrination you're exposed to from Amway, it's like,
yeah,
I guess it's not really a question. It's not really a question. I just wanted to comment on that. Like, it's amazing that you saw the success from that upline and went to so many meetings. So you're getting poured into and dripped on. That's what like people say now. And you're still able
yeah,
to wake up.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to wake up just because, like, when you meet people that are in that opportunity, like, you'll see others that are saying, yeah, like, for example, my first board plan, there was like platinums that said, yeah, my best month was $5,000. And, others said, like, my best month was $18,000, my best month. They used to say that at my board plan. And like you meet other people, they call it cross line, where like people that are part of different teams that are not in your team or not in your recruiter's team, but they're in part of someone else's team. Cross line, like coworkers, but Amway coworkers, but not really coworker, but cross lines for terminology. You meet them, and like there's so many walks of life that you meet, and like it's hard to not really see it. How could you skin that much people? Like that's what got me in. Like I saw so many people, so many couples, so many single guys, so many girls, not only succeeding, but I saw others like myself joining, for the first time constantly. And I was like, how could these can't all be actors, and how can they like how could this be a scam? Because I thought, if there's others around me doing this, and like I've seen doctors and lawyers, police officers, houses still going, and like I mean, obviously it's like it's hard to really wake up and see, even though you see a lot of people that are credible, that are part of this thing, how how could this be a scam and everything? And it's because like a lot of what you're seeing is an illusion. What's sad is people are believing that it's actually real when you're just seeing an illusion. Like for example, they would always say, LTD's growing, we're growing, and like they've been saying that since 2018, like we're growing fast and like we're breaking so many diamonds, and then you find out that like LTD is actually getting smaller. I spoke with someone, actually a couple people that used to be part of LTD, and they told me that LTD's been getting smaller for the last 5 years from 2019. So they were like at 15,000 people in 2019, and then 20. I know today it's less than 9,000, and like there was a very very big dip in the pandemic 2020, and I forgot the numbers that they were saying, but they were telling me that like from 2019 to now, it's been like getting smaller, and like you went from 15,000 people to 9,000 people today. And it's what's funny is like the owners of LTD, they would always promote this year. So like um, across every tool system, there's this big event called FED. It's called the Super Bowl of Amway, where basically it's where you're recognized as a diamond, and you get a championship ring for going diamond. The diamond is where you have six people or six couples or single people that are at platinum and above, where they're at least at 700 PV points per volume, going through their website for 6 months at least, six groups individually, and you're a diamond if you do that. Yeah, and you get recognized for that. You're given a 20,000. You're given a $20,000 ring. It's like a championship ring. It's only given to the men. Women don't get anything. They only get like a bracelet or like a necklace. And like they would always say, the high level ladies would always say, yeah, I'm gonna get a very very expensive bracelet or necklace, and but whatever. And then like you go down the red carpet, and um, as you walk down the walk the red carpet, you're hugging your six platinum legs or your six platinum groups that you individually recruited, and then you walk up on stage, and the man's given the diamond ring, and then after that, they have this weird salute where you're like this, and with the diamond ring, and then the diamonds they have a diamond section next to the stage, and so the diamonds also doing this with their hands, so it's like a salute, and then you give your talk on stage in front of thousands of people at FED. For us, it's called Summit, and that's like every September, October. And this year, they would always say that, yeah, 2024, we're gonna go to Dallas Cowboy Stadium, and we're gonna have 100,000 people there at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, sold out, and we're gonna break 100 diamonds, and we're gonna make a dent in the universe, and it's gonna be huge. And now it seems to be getting smaller, and in 2024, this year, it was actually last weekend, they were in Louisville, Kentucky. They weren't in Dallas Cowboy Stadium. They were in Freedom Hall, Louisville, Kentucky, with less than 9,000 people there at Summit. And they didn't break any new diamonds. And like I would say the last 4 years when I was in, from 2018 to 2022, they would promote the hell out of like, we're growing big, we're breaking so many diamonds. Because like from from prior to 2018, there wasn't a new diamond until I think it was 2012, and so for 6 years there was no new diamonds that were achieved up to 2018, and then there was two couples that went diamond in 2018. Um, I think it was Dirk and Laura Taylor and Matthew and Eva Pezzamenti. And I remember Larry Winters, the owner the owner of LTD, was saying, "Yeah, these two couples, separate couples, they broke the dam, and like, now because of this, you're gonna see, a flush of new diamonds. Next year you're probably gonna see four new diamonds, and then the year following you're gonna see eight new diamonds." And that's exactly what happened. But it was all planned, orchestrated, and it was all just to like, get people to build their companies, so then LTD could actually go 100,000 strong and go at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, but it didn't work. So what they did was is they manipulated a lot of diamond ships, and they created a lot of fake diamond ships. Because in LTD, a lot of the diamond ships are not actually legitimate. They're all just fake, and they're not earned legitimately. A lot of them are fake. So like Um, there's like there's basically a lot of ways to go diamond, but the main three ways are PV transfer, where you can transfer points per volume to your downline. So, for example, let's just say I'm an emerald, and an emerald is where you have three platinum legs. So, yeah, three legs that are at 700 PV points per volume going through websites separately, three platinum legs. Let's just say I'm an emerald and I have four legs that are at 700 PV points per volume, and I need two more legs to go diamond. What I can do is with my four platinum legs, outside of my four platinum legs, what I can do is I can transfer my PV to two separate legs outside of my four platinum legs. So let's just say let's just say I okay, the average emerald has 300 people. So let's just say I have like 10 legs total, and I have 300 people total, my whole business team, but 10 legs, 10 people that are recruited underneath me, and those 10 more than 300 people in my whole team. Um, and let's just say four of those legs are platinums, and the other six are not. What I can do is I can transfer PV from my personal circle to two legs outside of my four platinum legs, and I can transfer enough PV to make those two outside legs to go platinum. And then what could happen is then those two legs will go platinum, and then they're in the tool money, and they're receiving tool money because that's when you start to earn, like, the tool system is platinum. So they'll start to earn tool money, and so they're happy, and they'll stay silent and not say how they went platinum, and they'll just say, yeah, I earned it, legitimately, but yeah, your upline transfer PV to you, and they'll stay silent and go along with it and say, yeah, you're a diamond, to the upline, and then you'll earn less money from Amway um, because you transfer PV to your downline, so you're gonna earn less money from Amway, but you're going to earn more money from the tool system because now you're at a higher status. Because, like, the higher levels you are in Amway, the higher tool money that you're going to get. So the Amway comp plan, the tools comp plan are different. So, like, with Amway, um, if you're with Amway, if you're a platinum and above, you're going to earn more revenue or more income from your downline than anyone in your upline does that's above you, with Amway. With LTD, it's the reverse, where actually, if you're a platinum and above, you're going to earn less money than anyone in your upline that's above you. Just because with the LTD tool system, the higher you go up from platinum and above, you're going to earn more money from the tool system. And then with Amway, it's different, where, like, if you're platinum and above, you're going to earn less money from the ones that are platinums, um, if that makes sense. So that's how that works. And so, like, you'll earn less money if you're doing that transferring PV as an emerald to your other two legs to go diamond, so called, and then you'll earn more money from the tool system during that time where you're qualifying for 6 months, because you have to do that for 6 months, where you have six platinum legs for 6 months at least, and then after that 6 months, what you can do is you can transfer that PV that you transfer to your two legs back to yourself, and then those two legs, they will either go back to where they were before, or if they were able to grow during that time, they'll just go back to whatever they grew. So, like, if let's just say those two legs outside the four platinum legs were like 6,000, and you transferred PV for those two legs to go platinum for 6 months, and then after that 6 months, you transfer that PV back to yourself. If they weren't able to grow themselves, they're gonna go back to 6,000, or if they're able to, if they were able to, like, grow 500 PV within that 6 months, then they're gonna go 6,500 PV, if that makes sense. And then that PV is gonna go back to you, and then they're still happy with it because those two legs are still happy with that, because even if they lost PV from you, once you enter the tool system, you're in it for life, pretty much. So, like, if you went platinum and above, you're gonna still get paid in the tool system. So even if they went back and they're no longer platinums anymore, they're still gonna earn money from the tool system. Because how it works is, like, um, let's just say you go on diamond and Amway, and you're part of LTD. And let's just say you haven't been a diamond in 5 years. So let's just say you went diamond in 2019, and your group fell back, and you haven't been a diamond since. You're still going to get an LTD diamond bonus from LTD specifically, even if you're below diamond. That's why they always, that's why when you go to these meetings and these conferences, they're always still going to announce people as diamond, even though they're not actually diamond anymore. That's one example. So like, so they're still happy with it because they'll still get the platinum bonus from the LG tool system if they're not platinums anymore. Those two legs, and then you'll get your PV back if you're an emerald that did that to transfer PV to those two outside legs, those other four legs, and then now you're a diamond, and now everyone's calling you a diamond, and now you get your own conferences because with LTD, if you're a diamond, you get your own conferences. So now you're making more money because now you have your own conferences, and so you're getting more revenue for yourself, more conferences. Um, you get more speaking events because they have like separate events like they call it attitude sessions or rallies, and that's like $20 or so to go to these things, and they're kind of held randomly around the country, but you'll get to speak everywhere, and you get if you go to like bigger LTD meetings like FED for example, which is Summit for Us, you get to speak on stage, and so overall, diamonds get higher speaking revenue from speaking on stages, and you'll get invited to speak more at other places. So it's more revenue for you. You get conference money, and you get a higher LT bonus check because now you're a diamond, and so you're happy with that. And those other two legs that you transfer PV to, they're happy because now they're in the tool system now, and they're still in the tool system even if they're not platinums anymore. And now you're a diamond, and it benefits LTD because now there's a new diamond in LTD. This thing works, doesn't it? So that's one way. Another way is leg combination, where you can combine several legs into one leg to create enough platinum above legs. And not everyone is given permission to do that. It's only certain people that are allowed to get permission to do that from the Diamond Council of LTD, because you're not really supposed to do that, but people are given permission to do that. So leg combination is where you can combine several of your people that you recruited in the same organization or in the same group to generate enough PV for a leg to go platinum, which then helps you get closer to diamond. So that's the second way. And the third way is verified customer sales. So that feature came out around 2020. So you're required to have 60% verified customer sales every single month as an IBO. But outside of that, you'll hear a lot of stories about this. It's true. You create a lot of fake receipts, and so a lot of people are creating fake receipts to generate customer sales. And like for example, they'll like if you go on Amway.com and you're an IBO, you can basically make up a receipt from your inventory because you have your inventory from stuff that you bought from your own Ditto in the past, and like you can put like excess and like protein pods down, and then put your mom's name there if she's not a customer of yours already, or you can put like let's just say your second cousin's name there. You can put your second cousin's name there and put their phone number or put a fake phone number. And all right, I'll be honest. So what I did was with the verified customer sales, I used my full name, which is I won't say it here, but I used my full name, my full African name, and then I put my mom's phone number down, and somehow it worked. I don't know how, because like my mom was a customer of mine with the Amway website, with my Amway website, so she was already a customer, and she was already on file as a customer. But for some reason, when I put my full name down and then my mom's phone number as a verified customer sales for VCS, it worked. So there's ways to do that. I was pushed to do that because like my upline will always say it's like buying, if you have a coffee shop, it's like buying coffee from your own coffee shop and giving that back to yourself or whatever. So there's ways to do that. And so to go diamond, what you can do is you can like so like with every IBO, they have access to the downline's phone numbers and emails. So they can just make up a receipt and put their downline's name and phone number and email and say that, yeah, my downline bought PV from me because according to AMA rules, you can only transfer PV to your downline if they bought from your inventory. So like they have to actually pay you virtually through the AMA website and buy your inventory to transfer PV to them. That's how it's supposed to work. And so what the diamonds are doing, they're basically taking their downline information, their phone numbers and emails, and creating fake receipts, claiming that, my downline bought this when, they didn't, and they transfer PV to them. And that's how they are able to like generate enough platinum above legs to go diamond. And I've seen stories where people had their upline without their permission, by the way, taking their email and their phone number and creating fake receipts to transfer PV in order to, look like they went diamond when they actually didn't go diamond organically. Um, so there's stuff like that too, where that's the three main methods, PV transfer, leg combination and VCS for them to basically look like they went diamond when they actually didn't go diamond. So a lot of diamond chips aren't actually organic and legitimate. They're all just fake diamond chips. But everyone, when they see it, when they go to an FED or summit or any other meeting, they're like, wow, I mean, the euphoria. I mean, there's so many new diamonds. This thing must work. And there's all these people here, and this thing must be growing, but it's actually growing, getting smaller. But they're able to manipulate people and make them think like, oh, this thing's growing because, they're making up, you know, they're creating fake pins, fake diamond pins, and they're creating a lifestyle that's not actually real. Typically, diamond chips are not sustainable. They typically decay after the first 6 months, and you can see that with the Amway Diamond Club every single year. Is your upline diamond there? If you look at the Amway Diamond Club, there's not a lot of LT diamonds that are going to Amway Diamond Club because they can't fake it there. You can at an LTD meeting where like you have an LT Diamond Council, you have an LT Diamond seating section at a conference, but like Amway Diamond Club, you have to actually be an Amway Diamond to go to Amway Diamond Clubs. It's the same with any Amway event. They have an Amway Q12 trip where it's Amway Q12 Platinums or Founders Platinums are given a paid free expense trip to go to anywhere like Disney World or Kansas or whatever, and it's all expenses paid, and you have to be a Kuta Platinum or Founders Platinum to go to those events. And if you're not, you can't go. But with LTD, they have their own separate events. They have seating sections. They even have like other trips to just LTD. Leadership trips, and like they have special invites for people to go to these meetings or go to these trips. For example, like there's like this one thing. It's called the Joe Markowitz snowmobile trip where they go to Colorado and they do this big trip where they're going snowmobiling out in the mountains. But like there's special advice for people to go there because there are a lot of people that actually don't have 12 legs and 100 people there on their team because the qualification is you have to have 12 legs, 12 recruits underneath you, and you need to have a total of 100 people on your downline or on your team to qualify to go to the Joe Markowitz snowmobile trip. And there are people that don't actually have 12 legs and 100 people on the team total, but they're given special invites to go to those trips like a Colorado snowmobile trip just because it's just to make it look legitimate, like hey, this thing's growing. So they have special invites, and then conferences, seating sections for diamonds and emeralds and stuff, just to make it look like yeah, this thing is working. And like when you go on stage as a diamond, you're still being called a diamond even if you're not a diamond anymore. And so an easy way to tell that is just look at the Amway events. Is the Amway going to is your upline going to Diamond Club? Is your upline going to Q12 Founders trips? If not, they're not qualified anymore. Because you can't fake it with Amway trips because Amway won't allow you to go there if you're not actually at those qualified levels. But like with LTD and LTD events, yeah, you can go and get a special invite because there's no rules there with LTD, and we're trying to screw people over and make it all look real when it's all fake. And so that's one way to do it. And so that's why it's so easy to get tricked into thinking this thing works and it's growing when it's actually just getting smaller and smaller, and no one's actually at their organic pins that they claim to be. It's all fake. So this is terrible.
And in people that are watching this right now, right around this time, they're probably thinking something like what I'm thinking is like there's been no discussion of products except just kind of like an afterthought of like how to game the system. You can, you need to have this PV, you need to spend so much money, for the Amway component of this whole scam that unfolds with this particular multi-level marketing weird thing, this LTD and then Amway. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'll give them credit. I mean, they do talk a little bit about customer volume because, like, at least when I left anyway, they changed the comp plan a little bit with Amway. So like now, you don't have the ability to recruit people underneath you or register people underneath you or sponsor people underneath you. At least for your first few months, because for your first few months you have to so the first few months is complimentary, where you get a free registration to sign up with Amway alone as well too. Now they started that recently as well too. I wonder why. And then on top of that too, you have to like have at least 60% verified customer sales, so customer volume, and you need to be at least 100 PV, which is the first bonus bracket part of Amway, for at least your first few months before you're able to sponsor people underneath you or recruit other people underneath you. So they actually lock the ability from you to do that until you have customers and you're at 100 PV at least for your first few months, and then after you're able to recruit people underneath you. So then they changed that, and they changed the Q12 bonus. Like every year, they used to have like a Q12 bonus where like if you went platinum for at least 12 months, you get a Q12 bonus of at least $50,000 plus. But now they changed that to now it's like they call it the PGGI thing, or like now like it's not based off of you having to be a founders platinum or a Kuto platinum for 12 months. It's based off of you having to like it's based off the amount of months that you were platinum or above. So like if you only were platinum for at least 9 months, you're gonna get paid a bonus at the end of the year based off that 9 months that you were platinum and above. So like, but before it was like you had to at least be 12 months platinum in a row for you to get a Qtel bonus check. But now it's a PGGI bonus where it's based off of how many months were you platinum and above, and that's what your bonus is, and so it varies. It's a weird thing. They keep changing it so like the FTC won't get on them anymore, so they keep changing things, and it's it's very they try to make it confusing, so it's hard to like really explain the new Amway comp plan now. But they do try and like talk about customers, and yeah, you have to have at least this requirement, but it's very very minimal because it's mostly about sponsoring new legs, sponsoring new people, recruiting people, vetting people to the process, and get them launched underneath you. And like overall, Amway's total revenue is mostly coming from Amway IBOs or distributors, and a very very small minority is coming from customers that are not a part of Amway. And really a lot of those customer volume is actually fake too, because like people are able to create fake receipts with VCS now, so it's nuts.
If you could go back in time and catch yourself, like let's just say this was a possibility, and not look for a silver lining and think I'm happy with what I not happy, but I'm like I've learned from the experience. If you could go back in time and intercept yourself, what would you say to yourself to try to warn you to not join Amway or LTD or LTD?
Oh, because I was so indoctrinated, so it was because like you were really programmed as an IBO not to do your own research, and like they would always say like everyone that's out there on the internet or anywhere else, it's called the bathroom wall society, where everyone has a negative agenda to slander this opportunity and to discredit your upline, discredit Amway and LTD and what we're trying to build here. So it's really really hard. I mean, I've had people reach out to me when I was a part of Amway, and like I had this I had this go to hell attitude about me when I did that, and just actually lost friendships with that. But then I was able to gain them back when I left and saw the light. So I would say it's hard because even my downline, they blocked my phone number when I just sent them research. That was it. So it's I would say from my experience, because you really can't talk to someone. They have to like find out for themselves the truth, like I did. So it's oh gosh, what could I say? It's a really good question. I'd probably have to go with like I don't know, because they won't listen. That's what they like. No matter how much research and evidence you have, they really won't listen. So it's really myself. I would have to say honestly, just let them be. Like at least for myself anyway, let them be because like you really can't see the truth. But I would say like if you're gonna try and act like if you're gonna try to reach out to your downline or I guess like someone else that's a part of it, I would say just be bold. Because before I was like kind of like I was trying to drop it lightly, the truth to my downline, for example, and looking back and now I should have been a little bit more just bold and more upfront and just give the very unapologetically the truth to them and just let it there. And if they got offended, what's who cares? But like I would say to anyone that's still a part of it, or if you're trying to reach out to anyone that's still a part of it, and be just gotta be bold and share them the truth, regardless of how they're gonna receive it. and it depends on it depends on the relationship too. So like if you're close to someone that's like your friend or like family, it's different. There you can be a little bit more lighter and share the truth lightly. But like if it's like an acquaintance that's a part of that thing, be bold. For example, my downline, like I only had one leg that I was really close with as a friend, like a best friend, and we're still friends today. And like I dropped the truth I dropped the truth to him lightly because like we had a relationship of trust and rapport. But others in my downline, it was all just acquaintances. It wasn't really like a real authentic relationship. So like with them, I should have just been more bold and just shared everything that I knew and left it there. And who cares what they say? At least they were warned. Um, so, but myself personally, I can't really say things myself because I was just so stubborn and I really believed in this whole thing. So I really got nothing except just like let him be and let him see the truth for himself. Because like, when you're brainwashed, you really can't see the truth. So
People need to hear that. A lot of people ask, "What can I do to get my friend or family member out?" And they think if they get a video and that they show them, that they'll wake up. And it's important to hear from like you that have been in Amway and LTD what it was like. This
yeah,
can people understand. It just deepens that understanding from people that have never been in an MLM, and also people that have been in Amway and LTD. They're going to be really relating to what you're saying too.
yeah. So like when you're a part of that thing, you're very very indoctrinated to think that if you're part of Amway Ltd, you have the best opportunity to become financially free, independent, no job, no boss, no stress. But really, your upline is your boss. Just because like if you learn how the tool system works, and learn how the Amway comp plan works, you learn how like people are making more money from the tool system than the Amway comp plan, and so then your lifestyle is based off of the LTE tool system, and it's not in your control, as they like to claim it to be, because it's based off of the diamond that owns the tool system. So I mean, the owner of the tool system is basically deciding how much you get paid from your downline subscribing to LTD, and they're not being washed or legally regulated. So like they can do whatever they please, and so if they want to kick you out, they can kick you out. And if you get kicked out, you'll lose the tool money, which is the cash cow, and your downline will still stay in LTD, and you'll lose that tool money, and that revenue from your downline is going to go to your upline that's above you and not yourself anymore, and you lost out on your tool revenue that you basically created by having your whole team subscribe to LTD, and so then you're only earning Amway revenue but not LTD revenue anymore, and so I mean it's not stable because there's no contract that you're given to protect yourself from the tool system if the owner wants to kick you out. And so that means you have to basically stay in line and stay in check with the tool system and what they're preaching and claiming and the ideals. And so it's not really free, and like it's based off of the owner that owns the tool system. So like with LTD specifically, there's a criteria basically of how people get paid with LTD. And the first thing is your downline attending all events. Are they going to every meeting, every conference? And the second thing is your downline day one on buying, tickets to conferences, to meetings, etc. Are they day one and buying tickets, when they get released? Because um, diamonds earn a higher percentage off of tickets sold in advance. So they really have a huge incentive to, purchase tickets early from the downline. And so they really want, people to have their downline buying tickets on day one for tickets. And then it's based off of your social credit score. How good of a speaker are you? How well can you communicate with people? How relatable are you? Do you fit the LTD brand and LTD marketability? And then the last one's misogyny. It's based on how attractive your wife is. And it's just the wife. It's not the husband. It's based on how attractive your wife is. And like I know that because I spoke with someone they be part of LTD, and like they told me it's based off of how attractive your wife is, which is ridiculous. It's misogyny, but it's BS. And I mean,
That's
really, I mean,
hilarious. They're like,
yeah, and
you're
then
hot, you're not.
yeah, yeah, and it's funny because like they would always say like my wife doesn't have to dress up for another man at for a job, and like I would always hear eyes like that or people like that on stage saying, yeah, my wife doesn't dress up for another man to go to a job to work or whatever, but your wife is dressing up for another man for the tool system to earn tool revenue. So it's everything is just really just hypocritical, honestly. And it doesn't mean freedom because, like I said, your future is not dependent on you. It's dependent on whoever owns the tool system, and you better be in line and in check, or you can get removed from the tool system. Um, so it's just a huge racket. And I also wanted to talk too about how the damages are fake too. So like, um, for example, my upline Kevin Schweers, he's also going to be in a lawsuit as well too. He transferred 5,000 PV to a six group organization. So he had five legs over. Even then, I'm still kind of, iffy about the fourth and fifth legs. I'm not sure if those were actually legitimate platinum legs, but regardless, he had five legs over, so called. And basically, there was one team meeting where he was recognizing a couple that went 2,500 PV points per volume for the first few months, and they had like, I think they sponsored 12 legs, 12 people on the team, supposedly. But I never saw those 12 legs at any conference or any event. But they supposedly sponsored 12 legs, and so he was recognizing them, and he drew out their recruiter, their sponsors group, which included them, and he basically bashed their recruiter, their sponsor, and said, yeah, their sponsor quit, and all the legs they brought in quit. But before they quit, they sponsored one leg, their last leg, which is that couple that was being recognized on stage. And I knew the group that he was talking about when he drew on the board because he was drawing up on a board at a team meeting, and I knew that group and that couple organization because like I knew who sponsored that couple before they quit, and I knew that couple. I knew that people that sponsored that couple, and it was another couple, and that couple was sponsored by Kevin and Amelia Schreers, his wife, and so I knew that group that he was drawing up on stage. And then fast forward, that was before diamond qualification when he was in diamond qualification, and so then fast forward after he completed diamond qualification, he said his sixth leg is going to be represented by that couple that was at a team meeting that got recognized for having 12 legs and being at 200 PV points per volume um, for the first few months, and they were still at that same level. They didn't go platinum. They didn't even go silver. And he was saying that yeah, that couple was going to represent my sixth group for diamond that went platinum because their sponsor quit. And I hope one day they'll come back. But in the meantime, that couple is going to represent that sixth platinum leg um, for me and Amelia as we hug them before we go on stage for our diamond talk, our diamond testimony and speech. But I remember that in my mind, and I was like, wait a minute, there was no new platinum, and I even have it in his own words too, saying that all the legs quit before that couple that sponsored 12 legs and 12 people on the group, and so like all the legs quit, so there's only one leg left, and it wasn't a platinum. So where that 5,000 PV come from? So I know for a fact that he transferred 5,000 PV um, to his sixth leg, and so that's just one example where he's not a legitimate diamond. And there's so many other diamond ships. Paul Kopecki, he's now an EDC so-called, but he actually combined several of his legs into one leg to generate enough platinum above legs to go diamond. So he's not really a legitimate diamond. And Doug Weir, he was on the IBI board. He still is on the IBI board, and like he's actually just an emerald. He's not really a diamond. He's just an emerald. But he's able to manipulate his points to create a pattern above legs to be a diamond, so to speak. And then the chairman of the IBI board, Joe Markowitz, is just an emerald. Even though he's promoted to be this big double diamond in Amway, a part of LTD, he's just an emerald because he's able to inherit pattern above legs from China um, to his team, and he's given permission to do that because he's the chairman of the IBI board. However, if it wasn't for him being the chairman of the IBI board, he would just be an emerald because outside those legs that he gets from China, he's just an emerald. So it's just all a
Not
racket. It's just
not
all
Joe Markowitz, the snowmobiler. You couldn't
yeah,
possibly be talking about that. Not that.
yeah. I would always hear him say. I always hear people say too that he should be president. Because he's such a good speaker on stage, and he's like the big guy in the part of LTD. He's actually, I think, Larry Winner's biggest leg. So he's like the big guy, but he's really not as big as he claims to be. So like, this is another example where like a lot of the dive shows in LTD are fake and they're not real, and they're all just manufactured and just manipulated, not really grown legitimately. Um, Also too, um, just to mention too, so like when someone gets solicited into Amway or LTD, they'll meet you at a grocery store or at a park or at the gym, and like they'll say, "Yeah, I'm working with a couple that was able to build a web-based asset, and they were to double their income and retire in the late 30s." And their mentor me could be the same, and coach me the same thing, so I have to work forever. Or I'm working with a guy that built a web-based asset and he was able to retire in his late 20s, making six figures plus. And he's coaching me and me through the same thing, so I have to work a job forever and chase a paycheck. So if you ever hear that, just know that at least 95% of people in LTD that say that, it's not real. It's all fake because the majority of people that are saying those things, they're not actually being coached by people that actually have those results, the people that had the results of doubling their income or making six figures plus or making millions of dollars. They're not actually being coached by them, hands-on coaching. And so like my upline would always say, Kevin Schreers, he'd always say, yeah, it's okay to say those things to a prospect because technically, we had their audios, we go to their conferences 4 times a year, we had their audios and we listen to them. But technically, if you're not actually being coached by them, hands-on coaching where, you can call them on the phone right now, ask questions, and they're taking you by the hand literally to help build your so-called Amway company. That's a False Claims Act violation, and it's a RICO charge because you're making false claims in order to basically provide misrepresentation um, to your prospect to entice them to get launched underneath you. And so what happened is if you get shared that story and you get launched, 95% of the time, you're going to sign up underneath someone and have a coach, that's either a platinum or below platinum. And they're not, making six figures plus. They're not making millions of dollars. They're still working a job. And that's the same with a lot of cases. And so then that's a false claim because then you were promised or you were told that, hey, there's a connection to this coach that has this result, but then when you get that coach, they don't get that result or you don't have those results. So it's all a lie and misrepresentation that is illegal. It goes against the False Claims Act. And like there are some people that do have those connections, like if they're sponsored by Diamond or Double Diamond directly, they do have those connections, but it's a very, very small fraction of them. So for a majority of them, they're breaking the law by doing that, and they don't know that, but it actually is the truth. And then also too, they're breaking the FTC Act too, where like if someone asks them, is this Amway? And they say no, I don't know what that is, or do you mean selling and recruiting? And then they say no, that's also a lie and that breaks the FTC Act because you're providing misrepresentation in order to mislead people to get into your vetting process. And yes, I do eventually tell people that, yeah, this is Amway, but that's if they make it that far in the vetting process. And even if so, you still lied to them and made it seem something different in order to get them into the vetting process. That's still legal and it breaks the FTC Act. So it's just a huge, you're scared from the get-go when you meet someone for the first time. And so with that, I would say for anyone that's a part of Amway Ltd and is maybe looking to be a part of Amway Ltd, um, as a prospect, I would ask, 4 questions. I would ask whoever's trying to recruit you or solicit you into Amway Ltd. I would ask for a profit and loss balance sheet from their Amway IBO account and their LT Tools distributor account, just to see are they actually who they say they are. And I would compare those two things just to see, you know, are they making more money from Tool System or are they making more money from Amway supply-based system, and just to see are they actually profitable too, or are they losing money. It's a very big deal because they'll claim to you that, yeah, we have a curriculum that can help you become financially independent and to build assets and wealth. Well, prove it. Let's see if you actually are profitable. If you had a financial loss, that's a problem. Why are you making these claims that, yeah, I can help you become financially independent and free and wealthy if you're at a financial loss? Um, so I would ask for that. I would ask for a profit loss balance sheet from just the LTD tool system alone, from the LTD account alone, just to see how much are they making from the downline that's a part of LTD, and just to see what's the profits from being a part of the tool system and being a platinum and above from the tool system. And then I would ask for a profit loss balance sheet from every single member of their downline over the LTD distributor account and their Amway IBO account, just to see their track record. Are they actually lining up with what they say? Like, yeah, we have a curriculum to help you, build wealth, build assets, and be financially independent. Let's see that. Let's see, is your downline, at a profit, or is your downline at a loss? Is the majority of your downline at a loss or at a profit? That's a good way to prove that from both seeing a profit and loss balance sheet from the tools LTD account and then my IBO account. And the fourth thing would be to see an online web diagram of your entire, Amway uplines business, or your Amway recruiter that's trying to solicit you business. So like if you go on their website, Amway IBOs are able to view a web diagram of their entire Amway business. And it's an online virtual web diagram where it shows all their legs that they sponsored, as well as their PV, and it shows all their depth that they have underneath them that's a part of their team. So it shows all their width and all their depth, and it shows the PV levels. So I'll look at that just to see, are they as wide as they claim to be? Are they as in depth as they claim to be? And like, are they actually at the level that they claim to be? Are they actually at platinum? Are they actually at diamond? I would look at that just to see, are they legit or are they fake? Because like if you get launched with the Kevin Schwirtz team anyway, they'll say, yeah, we can help you have 12 legs in your first 12, 24 months. And so that means they can help you sponsor, recruit 12 people in your downline for 12, 24 months. Well, let's see that. Do you actually have 12 legs? If so, if not, then why are you claiming that you can help me have 12 legs if you don't have 12 legs yourself? Or they also claim to you can go platinum in 1 or 2 years and earn 50 to 75K. If that's the case, I want to see, do you actually have a platinum ship, or is your business below platinum level? If you're below platinum level, why are you claiming, hey, I can go platinum in 1 or 2 years if you're not actually platinum yourself? Because you can't teach what you've never done before. It's important to look for the online web diagram from your upline business, just because there are people that are going to these events, LTD events, that don't have 12 legs, and there's LTD events that you could qualify for, like 1200, and like I know for specifically my upline, Kevin Schwirtz doesn't have 12 legs. I went over that in my podcast. He doesn't have 12 legs, and I can prove it right now. Um, Kevin Schwirtz, at your next meeting, at your next team meeting, at your next info session, go on your website, and put on a projector board your website, and go on your online web diagram and show your entire team your web-based business from the virtual online web diagram. And I want to see, do you actually have 12 legs? Do you actually have the amount of people that you claim to have? If not, you're fake. That's one example. And there's other people like you that don't actually have the legs that they claim to have, but yet they're going to these meetings, and it's not fair how others, are being taught that, yeah, you have to have a certain amount of legs and PV to qualify for these events, when you yourself are being able to go there for a special invite because you're an emerald and now diamond today, so you have to go there to make it look, you know, like this is a legitimate opportunity. So I would just ask to see an online diagram of your entire annual business from your person that's trying to recruit you. Um, and then also too, recently I reached out recently I got connected to a law firm that's investigating all MLMs, and they actually told me to send a shout out to anyone that's a part of the anti-MLM community, and anyone that's ever been a part of an MLM, that the lawyer wants to speak with you and just hear your story and hear your experience, and if you have any kind of material given to you by your upline, um, they want to look at that and view that just to see this actually line up with what your MLM is saying. Because if not, that would be a false income claim and a RICO charge and a False Claims Act as well. So they just want to reach out to you, hear your story, and potentially you can join a class action lawsuit um, against your MLM, if there is going to be one filed against it, because this law firm is looking to take legal action against all MLMs. So you can join a class action lawsuit against your MLM if you want to. But even if you don't want to, they just want to hear your story and just hear your experience and be able to view your material that you have, just to see if it actually lines up what the MLM is stating and claiming to its prospects. So the phone number for the lawyer is um, 469 454 And then the email is G for Gary, R for Randy, E for Edwin, G for Gary at usclassactions.com. And also too for my lawsuit, which is a separate lawsuit against LTD. If you've ever been a part of LTD within the last 5 years, if you want to, you can join my lawsuit if you want to. You don't have to, but if you do want to, you can join my lawsuit if you want to.
How could they contact you, TJ, if somebody wanted to join in on your lawsuit?
Oh yeah, my email is T for Tim, O for Octopus, M for Mary, W for Wayne, E for Edwin, S for Sam, T for Tom, E for Edwin, N for Nancy, numerical one at gmail.com. And then also I have my website too that details my um I haven't filed yet because I'm still looking for lawyers. I'm in consultation with some lawyers, but it has details over the tool system and how it started and why it's a pyramid scheme, and also details on how the tools comp plan works, and also has details over the vetting process so people can know the language and terminology if they ever get solicited into Amway and LTD, because like they're very, very good at tricking people, manipulating people. So I just want people to know the terminology so they don't get tricked into this thing like I was, and so they have transparent information that won't be given to them by the Amway uplines. So it's www.unplug ltdtools.com. So I think that was it.
Okay. TJ, thank
So
you.
yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for having me.